Oh yeah, like I don't often go to clubs, but when I do, there's almost always some girl who would just like put her hands right up into my hair. And like the first few times I thought it was my friends, like they're dancing with me and they're playing a joke on me or something. And I would turn around and it would just be a total stranger. And she'd be like, "You have great hair. Can I touch it?" And every time I'd just be like, "Well, way beyond you touching my hair. You're on my scalp."
Mm. Talking of which, and this might be a by the way, um, there was a thing this summer, 100 different men doing a short scene with a scary, raunchy actress called Ruth Wilson, and I was one of the men. And I wore the same socks I'm wearing today. I didn't realize that they were girl socks. They were from a boy's shop and they're pink. And it's the first time I'm wearing them because of going to Barbie. They're my wife's socks now. Um, what I didn't expect from her, because we had our vague lines and things like that. Um, we danced like I haven't, apart from with my wife, I haven't danced so well with anyone. And there were cameras and an audience. We were kind of in a room where we didn't have to see all of that too much, but clearly we could. There were a lot of people. We danced. There was a part where after she threw all her takeaway all over me and in my lap, she turned her back and she went to the cassette player and she put some music on. We weren't allowed to know what the music was. And then we're supposed to approach her from the back and know that at some stage she will run her fingers through our hair. So I thought, don't put my arms over her arms, otherwise it's going to be a fumble. And then she'll turn around at some stage and fall, and we have to catch her, and there'll be possibly a little bit of dancing. And my fantasy was, well, she's probably going to be drunk and she'll fumble and fall to the ground. So before she even turned around, it was like very out of nowhere, slow dancing. And it was very, very raunchy. And it just worked. There was a chemistry. She's a brilliant actress and she's known for the sinister and the sexual, I think. There was a brilliant chemistry and it worked. And then at some stage, she turned around and rather than running her head through my hair, her fingers through my hair and falling, we found ourselves dancing more. And it was very, very close. And at some stage, I closed my eyes because it was very close. And then suddenly I thought, oh my God, I'm a married man. The cameras are on. Everyone's watching. This is public. Get back into the scene. But I'm amazed at how quickly, because of the connection, I lost myself. And because it was a performance, there was permission. And it was, play along with the script, so to speak. And I'm guessing she tested me by throwing the food in my lap, which wasn't in the script, and a couple of other things. So it was playtime. And she'd been doing the scene from 4 p.m. the afternoon before, and I was on at about 7 a.m. the next day. So she was knackered. And all the men, including me, were probably scared. As soon as I walked in the room, I don't know, I was in the zone. So, and then we danced, twirling each other and throwing each other and stuff like that. And I just thought, this is going too well. And I was waiting throughout for the humiliation. I don't know whether this says anything about me as a man or me as a sexual being waiting throughout for the humiliation or something. But, didn't know what was going on. So we were dancing, dancing, and then we weren't touching. And before I could think, she leapt in the air, she wrapped her legs around me, and I was holding her, and we were still dancing. And it's like, how much longer can I hold this without falling over or missing a step? Or, this is going so well. And then of all things, she kisses me, not tongues or anything. She kissed me on the lips, which was another layer of shock. It's like, oh my God, what is going on here? And we carried on and she slid down and down and down and down. It's like, how do I get this woman off me? Because surely I'm getting to the end of my scene. And, it was just too good. It was too good. And I wonder And as I tell this story, I wonder about um, in sex, ejaculation. This is too good. This is going on too well for too long. And surely, I ought to come, or I'm going to, or what's going. But it was just, it built and it built and it built, and it was absolutely brilliant. And they were shocked. No one's kissed me on the lips apart from her and my wife in the last 20 years. It was quite a shock. And to be intimate with another woman like that, that was quite a shock.
Was that agreed upon, Kenny?
Not the kissing on the lips bit and not the jumping on me bit, but I think it was kind of agreed upon in that there was a lot of it of improvisation, and what happens happens. And at any stage, she could say no, or I could say no, but it was more on her to say no because she's the famous actress. And it could be right in the beginning where there's a line, I don't remember what it was. I think you should leave now. But that didn't come until right at the end. I didn't feel put upon. It felt that it flowed and it flowed and it flowed and it was right. And I know that, the leaping on me and the kissing on the lips and stuff was from what a lot of debriefs and the staff and whatever have said. It's like, didn't happen with a lot of people. So I'm guessing she tested and tested and I kept meeting her. So I don't feel put upon by that. And it reminds me of the time when I did feel very put upon. And other blokes find this quite funny, and I probably would. Years and years ago, on a very hot summer's day, I was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and I was standing at the DLR, Docklands Light Railway in London, and a load of young girls wearing next to nothing came on, didn't really think anything of it. And they were standing around me, and one of them probably groped me, and the other one was all up and down me. And it was, and you could say officially that they're supposed to be hot young girls, blah, blah, blah. It was a shock. It was definitely put upon. It was not right. There was nothing right about it. And whenever I talk about this with other people, it's, especially blokes, it's a bit of a laugh. And I don't know if it's a nervous laugh or that would be a dream come true laugh or something for the wank banks, who knows? But it was not right. It was very, very strange. And if that happened the other way around, bloody hell. And when I had in fact, I think I did have my long curly hair then. When I had my long curly hair, it was really weird because somehow I was public property. People would touch my hair, touch my skin, touch my body. It was just normal for people not to ask. And also, I didn't have very good boundaries. I didn't know I was allowed to have boundaries so much. It was like, surely it's okay this way around, or am I being rude or a prude or something? But yeah, I've grown with my boundaries, but not right. And it's subtle. It can be very, very subtle.
Mm.
Well, this one wasn't very subtle, what you described. And so that was abusive from the young girls. I understand about you're on stage, it's theater with that actress, but still, if there's like erotic energy building, it makes us override our boundaries. And I'm glad you didn't perceive it as kind of like abusive. Of course, it's also a kind of power difference. She's the famous actress, and you are just like stepping in or like there for the day or something like that. So it's both of that, but I'm glad that you didn't perceive it as such. But with these girls, and I've heard that before, I've heard that happen to men by sex workers, kind of like street sex workers. I think it was in the Czech Republic or something. And so that a group of them also like kind of like touch them intimately, like in public. And so
wow.
it's not all right. It's really under, it's like you say, men laugh it off, but they shouldn't. It's a violation. And also, I'm also intrigued, like, why do people touch your hair?
Curly hair.
It's the
Really
same for
weird.
me with
Do
my
you
hair.
really?
Oh yeah, like I don't often go to clubs, but when I do, there's almost always some girl who would just like put her hands right up into my hair. And like the first few times I thought it was my friends, you know, like they're dancing with me and they just like they're playing a joke on me or something. And I would turn around and it would just be a total stranger. And she'd be like, "You have great hair. Can I touch it?" And every time I'd just be like, "Well, way beyond you touching my hair. You're like, you're on my scalp." And yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like a lot of my Scottish friends who wear kilts, they said the moment they wear kilts, um, like women will try to take upshot photos of them. They try to like, you know, play with the kilt and like raise it, and it's just it's really strange.
Public property.
Mm.
But we are the abusers. And I'm not saying poor us, we're the victims, but stereotypically, we are, and I have felt being a male, at times, just being a male in certain situations, I have felt like an abuser. Horrible energy.
Yeah, I think it would help society at large if men would call that out. Because women still think they can get away with that. And so what I get from you, Namora, is that they touched you, like a very intimate place, very erotic place, and then asked for permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, it doesn't really feel like a request for permission. It's like a
connection.
Not quite that either. It's like it's often almost there's often a compliment, like you have nice hair, and it's like, and then they do ask like, can I touch it? But it doesn't feel like a request for permission. It feels like a can you normalize this? You know, it's almost like a request for allowing yeah, like not really permission, but I've already done it. Will you allow me to keep doing it? Yeah, it's different. It's subtle.
And I also hear it from a male sex worker, a friend of mine, that because he is a sex worker, that clients think that they can touch him intimately without his permission. You know, no,
Yeah.
and so it's a good learning curve for women to men have boundaries as well, and but I guess that brings us back to the plaything, Kenny. Yeah, men are not playthings for women.
Even if your name is Ken. There's one more that I just need to quickly speak out. And this is when I was at Haight Ashbury in San Francisco, in the Haight district. And, you know, there's Ashbury. And I'd just come from India. I was traveling and I'd been staying in an ashram. My friend bought me the most beautiful, thick, kind of burnt orange waistcoat thing. And throughout my traveling years, I wore black shorts and kind of boots, and it was just nothing to think about. And we were walking around Haight Ashbury, and there was this older woman. A lot of them had mats. I don't know if they still do, but things they're selling. And weird out of weird, there was an album cover or a single cover, 12-inch single or an album with my friend Alan on her mat. And it's like, oh my God. And he was always the one that they said, take your top off. We need this to sell the records. So there was him. And next to his record was a Marianne Williamson book, Illuminata, that had a special thanks to me because I helped to do stuff. So it's like, oh my God. So we were looking at this mat and there's his little fame and my little fame. And then we got chatting with the woman, and she's a nice enough woman. And she started saying, what a lovely jacket. Where did you get it from? Oh my God, I've always wanted to go to India, blah, blah, blah. Can I have a feel? And I said, yeah, sure. I didn't expect her to go from my ankle pretty much right up to my bollock and back. And before I knew it, she was on the second leg. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's shock. I guess it was shock. And it was the last thing in the world in a million years that I would imagine. And, you know, I don't know if I'd say yes or no. And it would probably be no. Why would I let some stranger feel my legs? Why would anyone want to feel my legs anyway? But that was weird. That was totally weird. And every time I look at that record or that book, I think of her now. It's just like, what?
Mm.
What did you do, Kenny?
Walked off. We just walked off. Didn't know what to do, really. It was just like, yeah, shock, I guess. Yeah, just walked off. It's that I can remember. This was, what, mid-90s, mid to late 90s. But yeah.
Yeah, very understandable shock. Yeah. Because really what you had agreed, what the arrangement was, is that she can feel your jacket.
Exactly.
Conversation that you have to do.
Yeah.
Not your legs, not to your bollocks, huh? So the kind of like all the way up, buttocks, yeah, whatever it was, yeah. So it's a kind of like, I can get away with that because I'm a woman. They are probably going to enjoy that. So, not good.
I've, in the last 3 months, worked with more men who've been sexually abused by women, including a couple, well, 3, their mothers, than ever. And it's rarely talked about. And most of the men would casually comment and run away from the conversation, and then not want to talk about it for a while and then go back. But it's been the key to so much, so much. And no way am I trying to say women are abusers too, and it's equal, blah, blah, blah. I'd be surprised if we want to look at numbers, whether women and men abuse the same. I think men abuse women and men and children more than anyone, probably, I'm sure. I don't know. But it's been huge to be working with these men.
But Kenny, nobody knows because it doesn't make into the statistics, because the men do not speak out.
Yeah.
The men do not speak out in domestic violence. There are no shelters for men in domestic violence. There are women's shelters. I'm glad, because that is a big issue. But how do we know how many men get sexually abused and never talk about it, or suffer violence, emotional violence from women, physical violence? We do not know. And me also, I hear that a lot with clients being abused. It's usually as children or teenagers.
Yeah. And it's not a zero-sum game. It's good that we're having these discussions for women, and it's good that there are domestic abuse shelters for women. And saying that there aren't any for men is not to take that away from women. It's just to bring focus to another area.